Hi, I'm Suzanne. I am a videographer and photographer, and I am here because this month is International Women's Day on the 8th of March. In keeping with this year's theme of #ChooseToChallenge, I've been working with 9 brilliant women creating a photo series to represent different stereotypes that modern Australian women face. Alongside this photo series, we've recorded a conversation on each of these topics to help create a dialogue around them for International Women's Day. You're going to get one a day until the 9th of March, so stay tuned. Today's topic is #ChooseToChallenge strength, and we're specifically talking about physical strength because all of the women in this series are strong women. Having this conversation with me today is Tiana. Hi, this episode we are talking about strength, and we have
Tiana. My name is Tiana Faye Lee, and I'm a CrossFit athlete.
Yes, a very impressive one. Oh my gosh.
Thank you.
That's actually where you first caught my eye. I was shooting with somebody else at your gym and you were just doing a ridiculous number. I lost count of chin-ups in the background and I was like, who is this woman? Wow. So yeah, tell us a bit about yourself and kind of what led you into being the incredible, strong woman that you are today.
So basically, I think physical strength is something that I've always had, and I've never really touched on it until being an adult.
Yeah.
I was an elite gymnast, so I started gymnastics when I was just like 3.5.
Yeah.
And that sport in itself is you have to be strong, right?
Yeah, 100%.
I retired at 17, and then I fell into performing arts, which I'd done growing up, but obviously, yeah. And the gymnastics stuff kind of stayed by the wayside. And I found training, funnily enough, to, I like to use the word minimize myself. I was working as a performing artist and I got told that I didn't get a gig because I was the wrong body type.
Right.
And I was like, okay, well, I'm going to lose weight. I'm going to like be the right body type. So
Yeah.
I started training. At the end of the session, someone said to me, hey, you know you've got the perfect body for this sport. And I was like, what?
You're like, I'm perfect? What?
Well, just the fact that like for so long, and you know, coming from gymnastics as well, it is a very aesthetic, like they want you to look at, well, in my day, they wanted you to look.
How different it is now. You look at the champions that we look
phenomenal
at.
now.
Amazing, yeah.
In my generation, it was like you had to look a particular way and be less and be less. And then performing arts, it was like, oh, if you could just like get a little
shrink
bit.
A little.
Yeah, shrink a little.
Yeah.
So hearing someone say, you know, you've got the perfect body for this, I was like, oh.
That would have seemed so foreign and like
I was like,
fantasy.
can you say that again? I'll get my phone out and make it my ringtone. And I think from that, it kind of just planted this little seed of, oh. And for the first time since gymnastics, I think I'd found something that it didn't matter what you looked like. It didn't matter, like nothing about your physicality mattered other than what you could do.
Yeah. The big part of why we're talking about this is strength. Physical strength is something that society tends to not value in women.
Yeah, or not associate with women. Or
yes.
It's a negative connotation.
It's a surprise. It's like you could not be because that's supposedly a male trait.
Yeah.
So kind of what experiences have you had around that?
Yeah. I'm lucky because I've had some really positive experiences.
Yeah. You've had a good
But touching on that as well, it's that whole thing of like, oh, you're really strong for a girl.
Yeah, for a girl.
For a girl. That's those 3 words. And I like to correct them and be like, yeah, I am really strong.
Yeah.
Full stop.
Yeah.
There's no for a girl.
There's the end of the sentence. Right there, before those words.
Yeah, right. But I guess as well, like even like little things here and there in my life, like genetically, I think I'm just built strong. I am, strength is something that can be built, absolutely. But that genetic predisposition is something that's, huge difference.
Yes,
and like, I got thick thighs and a big booty and like, that's genetics.
Which
to
is
begin
awesome.
with. Phenomenal. Love it. Just don't try and find genes that fit you. And that's a whole nother topic. But yeah, like, I mean, I was telling you prior, like I had a short stint on online dating.
Yeah.
And the number of people that were like, oh, like you got big muscles and I think you'd make me feel, or you'd like dominate me, or I don't think I'd feel comfortable dating a girl with bigger muscles than me.
It's important to note here that you're heterosexual.
Yes,
So
yes.
Yeah.
This is a man saying it to me.
Yes. Actually, surprisingly, we'll touch on this later, but I imagine you probably don't get quite the same reaction from women.
No.
It doesn't threaten women.
It really doesn't seem to threaten women that much. The only, it definitely comes from men more from that perspective of or I'll walk down the street and someone will be like, oh, she's got big arms. And I'm like, bro.
Accurate information. Thank you.
Oh, I didn't even realize.
Thank you.
Yeah, just, I think it's just the fact that it's always said with kind of like a distaste or I'm not attracted to that or she looks like a man. And it's like, I don't know. I never look at myself in the mirror and think at any point there's anything that's not feminine.
No.
About. But then again, it's that thing of why are muscles masculine?
Yeah. Why is that considered masculine?
Yeah. Like what is masculine? What is feminine beyond genitalia? Like.
Yeah. Well, but not even that. Like it's identity.
100%. We can go beyond that.
Yeah. Let's not go all the way into that.
Down the rabbit hole. But.
Well, yeah. We'll stay focused. But I mean, maybe for another day.
Oh, absolutely. But yeah, like it's just those comments that you kind of go, what? One, why did you need to say that? And for me, with my online, like when I was saying with my online dating experience, I'm like, in order for you to say that to me, you had to swipe.
Yeah, you had to match.
You had to match with me in order to say that to me. You'll go out of your way to say to a girl like, hey, like, just so you know, like, I don't feel comfortable dating a girl that's got bigger biceps than me.
That should be important information to you, because how I feel about you as a stranger should be an important thing in your life.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, but I think this is part of the wider, not talking about International Women's Day specifically, but part of the wider feminist issue that women feel like the male gaze is more important than their own opinion, that men feel like the male gaze of women is more important than the women's opinion, but also that men feel threatened by this, that feel like they have to be the strong one. That's a whole other issue.
Yeah. And then, I mean, look, I've definitely come across men in the world where they're like
more progressive
and like guys are like, damn, like you must, what's your squat? Like, and I love hearing that because, or people that are like, oh, I can tell you work hard.
Yes.
To have the physique that you have. And that to me is like, yes.
Yeah, because that's exactly the thing when people comment on it. It's like, it's not like it happened by accident.
Oh.
It was a lot of hard work. So when they say it
so
as if
much.
like, oh, did you realize that you look like this? And you're like, yes.
I try to look like this.
This took me a lot of time. Thank you.
And I think it rolls into when I fell into CrossFit and I realized that I had potential in it. I wanted to reach that full potential. And the only thing that was kind of stopping me from taking that next step was that aesthetic aspect of it.
So it was even something that you were worried about.
Oh,
at the time.
absolutely. Absolutely. And I think that so many women don't train weights because they're so petrified that they're going to get bulky.
Yes, yeah.
But I guess, being strong and being and physically strong also, I think, can come with this side thing of because you're physically strong, that's all you are.
Yes.
And many of my female friends who are that way, like who are strong, like CrossFit, powerlifting, weightlifting, it's that thing of that's your identity.
Yeah.
She's strong.
Yeah. And that's, like
there's no more.
If women are good at any one thing or have any one label, that becomes their whole personality as far as a large portion of society is concerned. Yeah. Like if you're a mother, you're only a mother.
Yeah, that's it. And that's all you do. And like, oh, you can't do that. You're it.
Yeah.
And I mean, I speak about, I know we're talking about physical strength, but the emotional side of things too. I find a lot of people that are physically strong, if they show any form of vulnerability, emotion, weakness.
Yeah.
It's like, oh.
Yeah.
Oh, but you're not supposed to be like that.
Yeah. But even the idea that being weak, showing emotion is weak is a whole other ballgame.
Vulnerability is like my... But, I think, it's such an interesting perspective. Like, it's coming a long way. It's I say coming, not come. It's coming. It's still in the process.
100%.
And I think that women are finally realizing that strength is empowering. Physical strength is empowering.
I mean, particularly in post Me Too. Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Like I can lift that myself.
Yeah.
I don't need someone to open this for me.
Yes. Oh, gosh, that would be nice. I need people to open things. But my wrists suck. It's not so much about my strength. My actual wrists have issues.
Yeah, like someone delivers something, I've got it. I can pick it up.
Yeah.
You know, and I've actually, I used to work in a bottle shop when I was doing my degrees. And I worked in a bottle shop, and I remember the number of guys that would come in and go, "You've got a big strong man that can carry that case for me."
Oh, no.
I got the case myself, and I'd like walk in and I'd put it on my arm, and they'd be like, "Oh, like be careful." Just because I'm a woman doesn't mean I can't do it.
Yes.
Like let me do it. Let me show. Like let me be strong. Let me do that.
Yeah. And also it means that, you know, just because other women aren't doing what you're doing, that they're not utilizing their muscles, that they aren't physically strong. Yeah.
Anyone can be physically strong. And it's like,
even if they look like Kate Moss.
100%. Oh, picking up a baby, like, you know, like that's utilizing physical strength.
Holding a baby for several hours, that gets heavy.
Sitting with a baby for several hours is like, and it's, I just think the word strength, like everyone associates strength, physical strength with heavy weight. It's not just that. It's being able to do more than what you could before. And I do that every day in my job. I'm very lucky. I get to work with many women and teach them new things. And it's not, it's about what your body can do and not about punishing yourself for or trying to fit a mold that
a much healthier way
places
to move because it feels good and because your body is impressive, not for like you said, punishment.
Yes.
Yeah. You mentioned about representation, and that's something that's been a bit of a theme as well across the series is, representation of women in specific categories. So, Serena Williams, the ripple effect, the change that she has made in the world, just by her pure awesome existence is massive.
Yeah.
And you think what she has achieved is superhuman, but it's also within the scope of what many other women are doing, like not obviously not at her championship level.
Well, but she's in the limelight, right? Yeah. And she embodies so many elements that you're probably touching on, like motherhood, elite athlete, physical strength, like showing of emotion. Like she owns her energy, and she owns her positive, but she also really owns her negative experiences as well. And I think, you know, we sometimes shy away out of him, but like she's a phenomenal person, I think, to look up to. But I think about it as a kid, and I'm like, I didn't really see much of her. It hasn't been until we've started to actually embrace the strength in women that she's risen even further up.
Yes, because she's been around a long time.
It's so beautiful seeing strong, and I'm not taking anything away from any other woman. But seeing a strong woman represented, like a physically strong woman represented in society, in magazines, in mainstream media.
It doesn't take away from anybody else.
And we don't want to take away
everyone.
Absolutely. And I love the fact, you know, in my job now that I do, I have little girls that look up to me and want to be like me.
Yeah.
And that's so cool. Like, and it makes me a bit emotional because I'm like,
you get to be what you didn't have. Yeah.
I did not have that. And I get to be that for the next generation.
That's massive.
And that is so cool.
Yeah.
And they wear their Tiana bun, or like they wear their shorts like I wear. And I've had kids say to their parents, "Oh, I'm going to have a six-pack like Coach Tiana." And I've had to pull that aside as well and say, hey, it's not about the six-pack. But it's good because then I get to open that conversation of saying, hey, like I have that, but that's just because my muscles are built that way. Some people can live their whole life and never have a six-pack. Doesn't mean they're not physically strong. Doesn't mean their core is not there. They're just, the genetic predisposition is just not as strong.
And it's funny because people who don't look physically strong won't receive the same prejudice as someone like you who looks physically strong. Which is, not someone like you, a woman like you who looks physically strong. You know, men are applauded for having rippling muscles, and because that's what society tells them they should have.
And I think what I've realized is that there's an aesthetic that people see as strong, and then there's an aesthetic that people see as athletic.
Yes.
And they're not always the one in the same.
No, yeah, there's a line.
Yeah, so you've got like someone, I don't know if I use a celebrity, like Jessica Biel and Cameron Diaz, who they're like, they do surfing and yoga.
Toned up.
And they tone up. And I'm like, for all you know, they're squatting heavy 3 days a week, but they're genetically they're just a different body type. And so they don't look as strong.
Yes.
Like someone like J-Lo, Beyonce, they're starting to come out and be like, hey, I lift weights.
Yeah, yeah.
And it's awesome to see because you're like, finally. Like,
yeah.
A perfect example actually is my mum has said to me before, oh, you shouldn't wear that because it's like makes your shoulders look really big.
I'm like, brilliant, I'll wear it every day.
Why shouldn't I wear that?
Yeah.
Like, I understand where you're, and it wasn't said in a nasty way.
But she's a product of her time. And this is the
Her
thing,
generation.
these unconscious biases that we have to learn to recognize. Like when I said to you something about when women are like men, when we were talking about strength, and you were like, but why are muscles like
masculine?
Men? Yeah. I'm like, damn, I've gone and done it, haven't I? But I want to be pulled up. This is what we have to do to challenge these issues is challenge our unconscious biases.
Yeah. And I love the fact that I have little kids that sometimes be like, you know, like I work with a whole bunch of men and I'm like, who do you reckon's stronger? And they're like, Tiana's strongest.
Yes.
So I was like, yes. Like, I am stronger than lots of men physically.
Yeah.
That doesn't make that man any less. And I think that's the thing. I think what people do,
yes,
what they get worried about is that a woman being something is taking away from them.
Yes.
And it's not.
Yes. But the insane thing is that strength is a value, is a massive, it's a trophy, it's an award, it's an achievement for men.
Yeah.
But as soon as you're a female with that label, it becomes something to degrade you by.
Yeah.
Beyond a certain point, obviously, we talked about, if you're athletic, that's fine.
Yeah. Like you can be athletic, but you can't be like that. You can't be too strong.
Yeah, be mild.
And it does. It comes down to that thing of like the way that women are viewed.
Yeah.
You must be this, but not too much. And you must be this, but not too much.
Yes.
And I mean, I'm very lucky I get to do what I love and I get to be who I am. But it's taken, almost 30 years for me to go, you know what, this is the body I was gifted. I'm not getting another body.
Yeah.
And I want to reach my full potential.
Make the most of it. And
I may as well go all in. I've heard myself say many times over the years, and I was in a long-term relationship up until about 12 months after I started CrossFit. And when we initially broke up, a lot of it I blamed on the fact that my body had changed.
Right.
And I would say quite often, I'm not sexy. Like, there's nothing sexy about me. And it was probably about not even too long ago, maybe a couple of months ago, I heard myself say it and I stopped and I was like, why do I say that?
Yeah.
Why do I always separate myself from, I guess, being sexy?
Yes.
And I think it was I just felt like because of my physical shape, because I am so strong, and I am physically, I'm very, very strong.
You don't associate that with sexy.
I somehow, even myself, don't associate it.
Because you're a product of our society.
Sexy.
Yeah.
And I'm like, and then it's taken me, and I've thought about it, and I pull myself up, and it's something that at the moment I'm looking into within myself, and I'm like, why do I not consider myself sexy? Is it because I still have this instilled in my head that since my body, and to be honest, my body hasn't changed dramatically. I'm leaner, therefore you see more tone. Yeah. But my general body shape, I've put on a little bit of muscle. I've got a bit more bum, a bit more quad. My arms have kind of always been the same, maybe a little bit more shoulders.
And you know what that is? That's sexy.
Yeah. Well, this is, and that's the thing. And I look at pictures of myself sometimes and I'm like, no, you're not an unattractive person.
No.
But I've for so long, I'd be like, oh no, but I'm not sexy. I'm not sexy. Mm-hmm. And it's that thing of you're strong, therefore you're not.
Yeah. And it's not like anybody ever sat you down and said, okay, so if you are strong, you are not sexy, but it is just the subliminal messaging. And and I think there was a photo shoot years ago now with Serena Williams, going back to her.
Yeah.
That was like this really sexy shoot. And I was like, yes,
Yeah.
this is everything.
I'm here for this.
Yes.
I believe everyone should be at a point of strength, physical strength, that they can carry in their life.
Yes.
That's my thing. I'm
Works
like,
for their life. Yeah.
I want to be an 80-year-old that can get up and down off the couch by themselves.
Yeah.
That can walk up a couple of stairs into their home.
Yeah.
I'm not wanting to be an 80-year-old marathon runner.
Yeah.
Partly because I don't like running marathons. But I mean, I run, but I want to be strong, physically strong.
For life. Yeah.
It's not even about aesthetics.
Yeah.
It's about what my body can do.
Yeah.
And how my body benefits from that.
And I think that's just such a healthy mentality personally. I think, yeah. And going back to the kids, I mean, obviously you've got a more practical belief in there, but going back to children, and I think, and same thing with how they are around food and stuff, it's just they don't have all the other things in their brain yet that stop them functioning from what feels good and is good for them. And I think that's something that we could all learn a bit from. Yeah. But I think I also love that, there's these little girls who are growing up and looking at you as their role model, and that you're immediately challenging the standard of these prejudices against physically strong women by being there as representation for them, but also by whenever you find yourself having the very natural self-doubts, you're choosing to challenge those doubts within yourself, because you can see this impact that's coming for future generations.
Because
and
we are. Yeah, we are what they look to. Yeah. And if we don't give them something positive out of it, they're not going to want to be that. Yeah. Yeah.
And I think it's great that you're just, just being you, walking around and doing your thing and not holding back with your training, and not because of what anybody says to you, you're not stopping, you're not holding back. That's challenging these prejudices too. And I just think it's brilliant. And I think not a lot of people would have the strength of character to do that, because imagine people chipping away at you.
Having everyone else on the outside. Like, I'm a very intrinsic person. And there are many factors, but for me, for them, like them looking up to me, phenomenal. I'm creating a healthy, positive role model for them, for my female members, for the kids. But at the end of the day, I want to be strong physically, and I want to reach the pinnacle of what I can. Where that is, I don't know at the moment. Like, I don't think I've reached it. I think I have further to go. And I don't know, maybe we'll never know, but I enjoy it. And the minute I stop enjoying it, cool, we'll move into something different. Yeah. And I think everyone needs to be like that.
Yeah. And I think it's important to note as well that while this has been the focus of the conversation, and you put obviously a lot of time and energy into your physical strength, it's also not everything about you.
No.
You have many other things going on.
Many other things going on. I just, at the moment, my focal point is, I'm, at the moment in particular, actually, at this time, I'm an athlete first. Yeah. I actually, if I look at my Instagram, and I was talking to someone about this because I was like, I don't know what to write. So I have athlete is number one, and then I have coach and mentor second. Yeah. But they're pretty equal.
Well, I guess what I want to kind of know from you before we wrap up is, what would you like to see happen from the wider community, from society in Australia? Let's not try to tackle the world. What would be the things, or even just Sydney, what would be the things that you would want to see other people doing to challenge these assumptions and stereotypes and prejudices against women being physically strong?
I think the biggest thing is celebrating it. Yeah. And I think there are lots of things. There's lots of positive steps that are starting. With regards to, like, I look at even sport, the Women's Rugby League at the moment.
Oh, yes. The changes in women's sport. Finally. Yes. Like, I am not a sports person, but I've started watching purely for supporting them.
Women's cricket, Women's Rugby League. Yeah. We watch the tennis, like Women's AFL. There's so many female sports that they're just starting to tip. Yes. The icing on the cake.
Yes. Supporting that and helping it.
Supporting women in sport. supporting women in strength and conditioning roles so that they can encourage the next generation to get strong. We talk about commenting on people's bodies, like the best moment, hands down, in my life is,
I'm excited for this. This is a big one. Okay.
I did a photo shoot for Lululemon.
Oh, yes. Okay.
And I took my grandma as my number one, like my favorite person in the world.
Yeah.
She's 82.
Yeah.
Oh, 81, sorry. I took her with me and I didn't tell her where we were going. And I took her to Lululemon and my face, like I was there in the window. And the first words that came out of her mouth were, "You look so strong."
As a positive, like not.
And she cried, and I'm like welling up thinking about it because I was just like, this is what we need.
Yeah.
My grandma is a 81-year-old woman, and she can look at a picture of her granddaughter and say, "You look strong," and cry and be proud.
Yeah.
That's what we need.
Yes.
Always.
Yeah.
There is nothing wrong with being strong. It needs to be positive. We need to encourage and support and embrace and celebrate. I think celebration is the biggest one. Celebrate the next generation coming through so that they feel safe in being strong.
Yes.
Physically strong.
Yeah, and they don't stop themselves from achieving something that they want just because they're worried about what
other people are going to think.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Love that. Let's celebrate it.
Celebrate it. I think that's the best word.
Yes. Oh, thank you so much. I've really loved this conversation, and I'm trying to not steal too much of your time.
No,
thank you so much for talking with me and for being a part of this project. I'm really excited to share it with everyone.
Thank you for having me. And it's like I said, I'm so passionate about it. I could talk for 14 million hours.
Thank you.
Thank you.